course or coaching program, you need to start with the right path. Now, I've helped create hundreds of courses, helped build coaching programs to millions of dollars, and it's the same process every single time, step by step, start to finish, when you're just getting started. And the first thing is this: you have to identify, who are you helping? If you're creating a course, if you're creating a coaching program, identify, who are you helping? What do you want them to be helped with? And then you want to create a map. You want to map it out. So I use a Google Doc just to map out what I'm going to share with people. I map out what the program is for, who it's for, how it's going to help people, what pain it solves, what problem it solves, and that's what you build it around. If you don't have that map yet, and you're trying to figure out everything else about your coaching program or your course, you're going to fail. You're not going to be successful. So do you have your map created yet? It's as simple as just writing down, what are the first initial steps that I'm going to teach to people? Okay, so you want to break down sequentially the order of what the steps are. Now, this is where a lot of people miss it with their own courses or coaching programs. They're trying to figure out the big picture all at once. Instead, simplify it. Start with, what is lesson number one? And just break down lesson number one. Your brain might convince you that you need to have lessons 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 figured out, but you don't. Start with lesson number one, get that done, get that mapped out. That's your only first step. And so if you're just starting, start there. Have you done that yet? If you haven't yet, that's where you start. A lot of people are like, I want to make a course, I want to make a coaching program. Have you mapped out your program yet? Have you mapped out who it's for? Have you written down the very first initial interaction with the person that you want to help yet? Or is it just this ethereal idea that you're trying to overthink because you have a habit of overthinking because it makes you feel safer to process it all in your brain and to never actually do anything with your life? I'm dead serious right now, by the way. Because that's honestly what it is it makes us feel like we're doing something of value when really we're just pissing our life away, wasting every stinking minute with excuses. So you're going to stop the excuses, or you're going to start mapping things out. Now, if you're past mapping it out, great. And I'd love to talk to you, and I'd love to hear from you about what those next steps are. But if you have been saying that you're going to build a business as a course creator, as a coach for the last 6 months, 3 months, 2 years, maybe writing a book, launching a business, and you're still thinking about it and coming up with the foundations, it's crap. You're lying to yourself. There's never going to be a good time in your life. There's never going to be a good moment when you have enough time set aside to do this stuff. There's not going to be a moment where you suddenly have this Fantasyland, Disneyland, whatever fantasy fairy tale life where everything's perfect for you and then you can finally start. That's not reality, my friends. And so if you want the reality of what it takes to be successful, to build a coaching program, to make a course, you don't wait until the fantasy fairy tale. You start now. And you start with what you got now. And you start with what you have available to you right now. Or are you going to continue to make crappy excuses because you've convinced yourself of the BS that you tell yourself, of the lies that you tell yourself, that you don't have time, that you don't have enough knowledge, that you don't have enough, you're not good enough, or you're worried, or I'm scared of what people will think about me. My friends, get over it. Work on growing, healing from the worries and the fears that tell you that you're not good enough, and break past your own brain stopping you and convincing you that you need to be something other than who you are today to get started. Or keep living the crappy life that you've been living right now, making excuses and get pissed off and mad at me for speaking the truth because I just don't know your situation. It's up to you. It's your choice. I hope and I pray that you make a decision to actually start to do something instead of wasting your time making excuses and pretending like That's wisdom. And pretending like your fear is a good thing. Get over what people think about you. Stop worrying about how people perceive you. Stop worrying about how they might judge you. How do you judge other people? You've probably been like, oh, I'll never be like that person. You might be looking at me being like, I'll never be like you, Jeremiah. Great. Have fun with that. Have fun with saying that you're going to do something and never being honest with yourself because you're a liar to yourself. You never show up for yourself. You never actually do what you're going to say. And you constantly make excuses day after day after day after year and come up with reasons why you can't ever do anything in your life. Or you can get started with the first step. You can get started with the initial step. Map it out on a Google Doc. Map your program out. Who are you going to help? Who is the person that you can bring results to their life? Who is the person that you can bring change to their life? What transformation can you bring to their life? Instead of you worrying about you looking good to everybody and you being so stuck up on your own self and how you appear and your own fear and insecurity that you're trying to find self-validation because your brain is so messed up because people abused you and invalidated you and you feel like you're worthless and not good enough unless everybody likes you all the time. So you got to do everything perfect or never anything at all. Keep living that life. That's a prison and it's a living hell. If you enjoy that living hell of existence, keep it up. Have fun. But you will never succeed as a course creator and a coach with that mindset. You just won't. You have to take the initial step. You have to take the step to do something with your life. You have to do something with your time. You have to realize that you're the one in control of your time and your life, and you're not a prisoner to other people's opinions or the obligations that you have in your life. And if you feel like you're a prisoner to all the things that everybody else in life wants you to do and how you should be, and oh, life has taught me I got to be one way, or I hear this one, it's different for women. Women got to be in a box, but men can be whatever they want. That's a load of crap. Because I know a lot of women that don't live in a box. I know a lot of men that don't live in little tiny boxes and make excuses for themselves and reasons why they can't year after year after year after year after year, and they blame everybody else around them and they take personal responsibility for their life and they start to move forward by choosing no longer am I going to make excuses, I'm going to actually start to go after my goals. And they start with step number one. Step number one. Start mapping out who do you help, what problem do they have, what problem do they solve, put it on a Google document and start with lesson number one. Get it out of your stinking brain that you got to figure it all out before you get started, and you got to be perfect and you got to reach some fairy tale, fairy dust, sprinkle land version of life where everything's perfect, and you got to be perfect little in a box for anything to be good enough for you to put yourself out there and show up just as you are today, not given any moment of concern about what anybody thinks about you. That, my friends, is what's going to take you to levels that you never imagined creating a course or a coaching program. And that's what I help people do. I'm passionate about this because I'm tired of seeing people sitting around making excuses, calling themselves excellent and wealthy when they do nothing and have never done anything for years, and make excuses after excuses after excuses why they can't. And it's everybody else's fault that they're a victim for why they can never do anything in their life when right in front of them is an opportunity to change something. And they're choosing not to because it feels happier for them to whine like a child and a little baby and complain about everything. Get over it. Start now doing the activity. Start now creating your first course. Start now mapping out what the next steps are for you in your business instead of whining and crying about how it's everybody else's fault that you can't do anything because you don't exist in the world and you need some fairy tale, fairy dust land version of your life that's perfect for you to ever start building your business. It's up to you. It's up to you. We'll talk soon, everybody. Have a good one.